Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So you saw in the last video, Joe and I got the transmission in. I buttoned everything up, but before I started up and kind of readjust the shifter linkage, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing the coilover suspension. So I'm going to start off with the rears, since that'll be easiest. So what we've got is we got 16mm bolts for the shock support above, and then for the rear shock mount. And then when we get that out, this section will roll. You might have to pry a little bit to get the stock spring out. After that, what we're gonna do is this is gonna require an H9. All right. And then, well, that's for this one. If you get like a Raceland or something, it might be different. But this is going to be your perch, okay? So you take this bolt off, and then this plate will go and pinch that perch together. And on some more expensive brands, this seat to hold the spring in will be like a metal seat. This one is a rubber gasket to give some grip to the spring so it doesn't slide around during height adjustment or normal operation, okay? So, and then here is the spring. Flat side goes onto the perch adjuster, okay? So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have you guys watch. I'm going to do this side, and then I'll move on to the front. Obviously, I'm not going to show you both sides because it's going to be the same. All right, let's go. All right, once you get them, you have to hold this knot up on top, and then you got to get a wrench, and then you got to manually spin, because if not, then the piston will just keep rotating. Okay, so word of advice, never clamp anything on this metal tube right here. Okay, so what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna get, either an adjustable, set it to the size that you need, rest it up on top, clamp her down, and then you can come back in and either use the open-ended, which obviously I don't think is the best. Get it in, set it, and start turning it. And that will help you keep the tube in place until you tighten it down. So before I forgot, I want to mention that when you do your rear lowering springs, this little kind of retaining perch is at the bottom. So like screwdriver or a small to medium pry bar, get it in, hammer it, it flips out. 2 or 3 hits and you should be good. If not, then your perch won't sit down all the way. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so what we have here is I need to now remove the bushing and rubber stop off of this strut and place it onto this strut. Because as you see, it has a retainer hat, but it does not have the bearing that goes into it, nor that rubber stop bushing. So that has to be transferred over, which means I need to use this contraption, which scares the living daylights out of me. So all it is a do-it-yourself spring compressor you line it up on the springs and you slide these pins out and they lock into place. 19 millimeter nut up on top, both sides. There's 2 of them. And then make sure when you do this, you have it pointed towards something you don't give a damn about. Because if this comes flying off, I swear to God, it's going to be the most scariest thing in your life, and you're going to wind up losing an arm or something. So, wish me luck. Let's do it. Okay, we are compressed to where this is movable. So now, that top nut, 21 mil, take that off, and then we should be able to get this bushing off to expose the bearings that we need. So we have success, and it's actually not that bad. This happened pretty easily, and with my luck, the bearing is still intact with the bushing. So for me, I don't have to take it out. But if you would need to take it out, this would be completely separate. This would have to go on to your to the top hat of the aftermarket spring. So this is only hand tight. Take it right off. So if this bushing were separate, this would sit here on top, and then this rubber mounting would then sit on top of that. Okay, so basically this is what you got, and then you push it down, and then you start threading it on with the new nut. All right, so I'm working on the front coilover struts, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a little bit of difficulty. If you guys remember when I did the unboxing, I said this was my first pair, so I kind of got a little bit excited and I kind of started jumping right into it, and the top portion, the threads weren't fitting all the way through. So I'm like, all right, starting to get frustrated. Don't know why. Maybe it's because I don't have the weight of the vehicle sitting on it. So I was like, you know what? Before I start jumping to conclusions, let me do a little bit of research. So what I found was with the partial body especially, what you got to do is you need to thread the purchase all the way down, because if you see, I was only able to thread it about half the way. You see there's a lot more that has to get through. So lubricate the splines, and I'm gonna bottom out these adjusters, you know, and I put some anti-seize lubricant on there, which ought to help it. And whoops. And then once I do that, once I get these set it on, I get everything reassembled while it's at max opening, and then I will try and reapply the coilover spring seat and make sure everything is tightened down to spec. These are 21 millimeter nut from the bushing. All right. So the bushing, so that's got to go on top of this hat. The hat is going to face down almost like a mushroom hat. So I'm going to do that, put you guys on time lapse real quick, and then we will see what the results are. Okay, so I have some bad news. These coilovers will not fit into the Jetta. And the reason for that is the threads on the top are not deep enough. So what I mean by that is normally when you mount your struts, in the case of Volkswagen, you have a certain amount of thread that will come through, and then you have your main nut that bolts on. You know what? I got a better idea. I'm going to show you. There is, you see this tip? That's the threading that is on the top of your strut body housing. So what that allows for is once all the hardware is mounted to the top of the strut, there's a bushing at the bottom of this, which allows for turn while you're driving, so oscillation. The threading on the JDMspeed struts doesn't come up high enough for me to attach the threads. I did follow some information that I found online and fully releasing the spring and trying to clasp it to get the strut to push through, and it just wasn't doing that. I made sure that everything was on right. The only way I would have been able to even possibly get close would have been to do something completely unsafe, and then that would have been to put the top hat bushing of the strut on without the strut bearing, which obviously I'm not going to sacrifice the car or myself in order to get some good look, some good stance. But what I will be doing in the future is I still want to lower the car, so instead of going with coilovers, I might wind up going with some lowering springs.